Right, so I used to be a vision researcher. I studied vision since I was a postdoctoral fellow, and for the first 10, 13 years in my own lab. And then about 2010, at the end of the year, I started moving into sleep research. And right now it's about 80% of my lab. Sleep is obviously very important biological process, as we heard in Julio's talk just recently, that all animals sleep, and if you don't sleep, you get into all kinds of trouble, right, in the body and also in the brain. So I was not thinking about sleep until about 10 years ago. I got into it partly because I was studying neuromodulation, how it modulates visual processing. And initially, it was very focused on vision, but once we started looking at how the cholinergic system modulates the brain state, I realized that it's a huge effect and it's clearly very important. And I also realized that vision is actually a very crowded field. I had some ideas about how we can make progress, but I feel like a lot of other people have similar ideas. So there's a lot of competition, which I don't like in particular. And also, I feel like our contribution to the field is probably going to be less unique. So I was hoping to look for a less crowded field, and I searched around for quite a bit, and I decided to move to sleep. I certainly hope so, but I really don't know. I think that what we have studied so far is mostly what controls sleep. How do we sleep? But there's another big question, which we barely touched upon, which is why we sleep. So even in my lab, we have gradually shifted or maybe extended into this new direction of thinking about the function of sleep. So my feeling is that how we sleep is an easier question, and hopefully we can make a lot of progress with all the modern techniques developed in the past 10 years or so. We can make a lot of progress in the next 10, 20 years. But I have a feeling that the question of why we sleep might be a bigger question, a more difficult question. So I remember reading an article in Nature, I believe. There was this big article about him. Back then, I didn't know him personally at all. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. But I just remember feeling incredibly inspired by that. The boldness to sort of just move to a new field if you see that's where the important questions are. If it involves new techniques, don't be afraid. Just go for the important problem. That was a very big lesson for me. Oh, it's wonderful. It's so broad. And also, a lot of people give talks of, not just the current data, but the historical perspectives. It's very inspirational for me to sort of learn how to approach science, how to think big, and sort of, go for the fundamental questions.